it was weird to me how quickly he shot the vibe in the face. Today, I had one of my yearly type 1 diabetes checkups, but this time I was meeting a new doctor. And I've heard a lot about bad doctor's appointments and everything on social, online, but I haven't really experienced that in my 5+ years with type 1. But today, that may have changed. So I'm right outside the new endocrinologist office here in town. Never seen this doctor. I have no idea what he's gonna say. I've tried to be the ideal type 1 patient, but I know a lot of people have kind of hit or miss experiences with endos, so I'm hoping it goes well. My A1C should be under 6. If it's not, I'll be a little confused. But yeah, I'm curious. I'll try and see what I can film in there, or what questions I can record. I don't know, but I'll let you know how it goes. So we did all like the normal step on the scale, blood pressure, pulse. My pulse was at like 50, like 54, which I know I'm in decent shape, but not that good. All right, just got the A1C checked, waiting for the doc. Okay, look at this. Good looking A1C right there. 5.5. I think the lowest I've ever clocked was like a 5.2 or maybe a 5.4, but I'm very happy with a 5.5. That's good. Okay, a lot of thoughts on the appointment. Overall, good, but I'm actually gonna head over and do some testing right now. I hate having to schedule it, and thankfully it's not like a fasting test, so we're gonna go get that done, and then I'll try and get some thoughts in the car. But anyway, okay, on second thought, they just told me their lab techs were all done for the day, and we're done doing blood work and lab draws, so we'll have to go in another time.
A few moments later.
Okay, I'm home. I've had time to process the appointment, and I'm just gonna lay it all out on the table, try not to be super long-winded, but give you the full rundown and then try and break it down a little bit. So, showed up for the appointment, paperwork, the whole shebang. They bring me back, or the med assistant brings me back. I get a weight, blood pressure, pulse, and I mentioned my blood pressure was great. Pulse was a little low. I was at like 50 or 54. But after that, she pricked my finger for the A1C, and I had just gotten my A1C tested back in April or May, and I was a 5.8, which I was really happy about. And so she pricked my finger, threw it in the machine, and you know how it is, like just sitting over there staring at you, and it has the countdown. I don't know if everyone uses the same machines, but you just sit there waiting for that number to pop up, and you're like, oh, it's good, it was bad. Anyway, sitting there, a few minutes go by, countdown goes down, and it pops up as a 5.5%. And I was like, oh, that's good. I like that number. I'm pleased with that. And in my head, I'm really excited about 5.5, that's really good for a type 1 diabetic. And then I kind of start analyzing 5.5. In the past, they've been really excited about anything under 6 when I've gone in. So I'm curious what they're going to say. A few minutes later, doctor comes in. Small talk is minimal. And in asking me how I am, I say, well, I'm better now. And I kind of point to the A1C machine that has the 5.5 on it. He was like, yeah, but we need to talk about your lows. And right off the bat, it was weird to me how quickly he shot the vibe in the face. It was like immediate discounted all the credit of a good A1C, which I know A1C isn't everything, so grain of salt. But I was excited about that number. I felt like I've been doing good. And then he comes in and he's like, no, you haven't. Let's talk about your lows. And that very quickly became the topic of discussion. He was asking me, he pulled up like a recent low I've had a few, well, it was actually yesterday, the day my sensor failed. And I was riding low all day, but I knew I actually wasn't that low. And then my sensor died and I was all over the place. Anyway, it was just like, it wasn't even a good day to look at, but he took that one day like it was the entirety of the past year. And I don't know, it was disheartening. Like I will admit, I was a little disappointed that it didn't seem like he got the full picture. And I've heard so much talk about good endocrinologists, bad endocrinologists, good doctor's appointments, bad doctor's appointments, and I want to say that none of it matters because ultimately it comes down to you, your health, how you're feeling. Yes, lab tests and numbers are helpful to kind of give you a diagnostic of where you're at. But to have someone come into a room and tell you that you're not doing good, even when you feel like you are, I think it needs to be taken with a grain of salt. And so that's how I felt about this appointment. Was I was excited about the 5.5. Yes, I probably have had some lows that have helped lower that A1C, but ultimately I've felt pretty good over the past year. I've been able to train, run a marathon, an ultra marathon, running another marathon this year. Like I feel good. I'm not going to let this doctor's appointment ruin all of that. And so he kept going and talking about what we could do to prevent me from lows. And he asked if I'd ever thought about a pump, which is another video. But I told him that I kind of like my system with MDI and injections, and I wasn't super interested in a pump. And he was like, okay, but the way I see it is like it would be really good for you to prevent these lows. And it seemed like everything he was doing was very intentional about let's not have lows anymore. And I was just disappointed. And I'm trying to think of anything else that really sticks out about the appointment. Like he pushed the pump, and then after that he pushed kind of this new, it's not Baqsimi because Baqsimi is like the inhaled nasal glucagon, but it was like an Ozoke or something, like EpiPen of glucagon almost, recommended. He's like, hey, these will also help with your lows. And it was good, actually. I really appreciated that, and I think my wife and I both agree that I need to have some of that stuff on me. But it was almost like the frame of that whole appointment was immediately negative because of him coming in and just right off the bat attacking the only thing that was wrong with my diabetes management. Which, sorry, not the only thing that was wrong, but like I work really hard, and the fact that he pulled those lows out and we didn't really talk about anything else, it was just kind of a disheartening appointment. So with that, I feel like this is the first time where I've really understood and I know so many people have it so much worse. But I feel like I was able to understand, like, oh wow, like maybe a lot of people hate going to the endocrinologist, and it stresses them out so much that like their diabetes management might actually suffer because of that. Like you can get into this feedback loop of, the stress of that lab work and the endocrinologist yelling at you would cause you be to like not be as healthy as you could if you had more support and a more optimistic doctor. Like it hit me, and it was I don't know, it was a powerful moment where I was like, dang, I in another life maybe I should have become an endocrinologist, even though I didn't get diagnosed until I was 21. A little bit late for that, but yeah, it was just sad to me that there are people that can hold such weight in your health and your diabetes management, that are kind of integral to how you navigate such a difficult and complex disease, that aren't as supportive or aren't as caring or aren't as blank or blank as they should be. And that's really tough. And so my heart goes out to anyone who has had difficult endo appointments, or difficult doctors that they've worked with, because it really does take a toll. And I feel like I saw that today, even if it wasn't anything major. But I hope that in your own journey, in your own management of type 1, that you can separate what they think and they're only seeing on charts with what you feel every day in your life and in your health, because ultimately you are going to know how you feel so much better than they are. I'm not saying to disregard a doctor's advice. I'm not saying that what they say isn't true or accurate or helpful, but I think both need to be taken into account to maximize the chance of you being healthy and being able to live the life you want with type 1. So keep that in mind. Keep going. I'll keep everyone updated on my journey, and hopefully the next appointment with our endo for you or I goes a lot better than mine did today.